Hello, everybody.
Welcome back to the Outspoken Podcast.
Yes, we are your hosts, Jake and Hunter.
And we're so excited to be back. We missed you last week. We did not have an episode last week. We took a little break. We've been super busy working on some things. So it was good. It was much needed, but we're so excited to be back in the studio recording. And we have some exciting and important things to talk about today. So...
So for those of you who don't know, we haven't really mentioned it on the podcast a whole lot, but we are BYU students. We both go to BYU. And so today we kind of just wanted to take a little bit of the episode to talk about some recent things that have been happening, and how we feel about it, how it's affected us. And we want to do a full episode about our experiences at BYU and some of our thoughts about BYU and some related topics with that. But for today, there's just been some recent things that have kind of affected us. And so we just wanted to bring it up while it's still kind of relevant.
Yeah, and for those of you who aren't familiar with BYU, it stands for Brigham Young University, and it is a private church-owned institution. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the church that owns this school. And so if you even just look it up, like, you'll find a lot of interesting things about the school because it is like a private religious university. It also has a lot of like stricter policies and guidelines intended, I guess, to kind of align with like the church's kind of policies and guidelines. But it is an interesting place to be because, I mean, and we'll get into this more, but in college, a lot of us and a lot of young people are just figuring out who they are and what they want. And what's interesting about BYU is a lot of people end up there simply because they were raised in the church and their family is all big BYU fans, or they went to BYU. It's a very like generational thing to go to BYU. And so it creates an interesting dynamic where a lot of people come to BYU and then they realize maybe that the way they think or want to live doesn't necessarily align with all of these policies and guidelines. And then things get tricky. And so we are going to kind of talk about, like he said, something that's happened recently, specifically as it affects the LGBTQ plus community. Because for those of you who don't know, on BYU campus, you sign this honor code when you attend, and part of that honor code is that you will not engage in any like same-sex relations, I guess. And so obviously some people are probably like, well, you, and that's kind of why like we haven't wanted to talk about it that much, but we both are kind of like moving in a direction where we're making some decisions, and BYU will probably not be a big part of our lives in the near future. And because of that, these things are too important to just keep to ourselves. So we want to share a little bit. So the change or announcement that was made recently that Jake was referring to that we want to talk about is a decision by the university to mandate as part of the curriculum for the freshmen in a class to read a specific address given by one of the top-ranking church leaders. So for those of you who are in the church or know a lot of the church, you might recognize this name. If you don't, that's okay. But Elder Holland is the one who gave this address. He is just one of the leaders in the church. And I'm just going to read a little snippet from the Salt Lake Tribune that basically kind of summarizes what this talk was about and why it is a big deal. This address that he gave became like a really controversial topic because it kind of came off it was very like heavy and direct towards the LGBTQ plus community. So anyway, this just says the original talk was delivered by Holland in 2021 and criticized faculty members and students who challenged the faith's teachings when it comes to family and marriage as that between a man and a woman. He added that they should take up their intellectual muskets to defend the teachings of the LDS faith. And so that's kind of just like a brief summary of the talk. And we'll go a little bit more into it. But first, Jake's just going to give some background on like what's been happening at BYU recently and maybe why this talk was even given in the first place.
Yeah. So to kind of start off, like it's obviously like a lot of Christian religions, the Mormon Church teaches that marriage is between a man and a woman. And so obviously that is why in the honor code and within like the church doctrine that like being not straight doesn't really align with most parts of the church. So that being said, being gay or just like a member of the LGBTQ plus community, or anything that isn't like straight, basically, was just really, really taboo and not talked about, not explored by many students. Like it just wasn't normal for a really long time. And so as it's becoming more and more accepted and normalized in just society in general, it also kind of started to become more normal at BYU. So I don't remember the year, but there was a speech given by the valedictorian at the BYU commencement ceremony, where the kid in his talk mentioned towards the end that he was a gay son of God and that he like felt loved. And anyways, there was just a lot of, it became really like big in the media. I remember like seeing him on Ellen and like it was just kind of a really big thing. And there was lots of backlash from members of the church that did not feel like he should have came out over in that circumstance. So anyways, since then, being gay or part of the LGBTQ plus community has become a lot more normal at BYU. I mean, me and Hunter are like openly dating at the school. So it's definitely became a lot more normal.
Yeah. So this talk, the reason why it like felt so hurtful at the time and still does to so many people is one, the language was just very like, again, I read that quote like, take up your intellectual muskets to defend the teachings of the faith. And like, there was a lot of backlash about that comment, like that he would use the term like musket fire in relation to talking about LGBTQ plus issues.
And he specifically mentioned the person who came out over the pulpit at the talk.
Yeah.
Like he was talking like about him.
Yeah. And said like basically something along the lines of like, it's becoming too normal. Like if you think you can commandeer a commencement speech to wave your flag of like, it might not have been that harsh, but essentially that's what he was saying in the talk. And I will always remember because I followed this kid on Twitter who gave that commencement speech, and like a little while after Elder Holland's speech was given, he opened up and like just shared how badly that affected him and how much that hurt him and how he literally was like suicidal and depressed and just feeling so much like, imagine being attacked by someone on a stage that big. It's a crazy thing. Anyway, so it was a very controversial talk. Well, now, like we mentioned, the university is using it in a course for freshmen as a required reading. And there's not tons of details about the change. Like, I think the Salt Lake Tribune just got a tip on it and they wrote the story. And then a couple other news sources have like basically paraphrased the Tribune's story about it. But nonetheless, it's pretty alarming, at least to us. I just last week when I found out, I remember we woke up and I saw it and I was just devastated because we were talking about how impressionable young college freshmen are, and like thinking back to when we were freshmen and just like, yeah, how easy it is to just soak in whatever's in front of you. And so not only does it break my heart that there's going to be so many students who are a part of the LGBTQ plus community who come to BYU and read that, but there's also just so many other people who may have somewhat of an open mind or haven't made up their mind, and then they come and read that talk very first thing and their mind becomes a little more closed. And so really it's just creating a pretty unsafe culture and environment for LGBTQ plus students in a university where they claim to be a place of belonging for everyone, including LGBTQ plus students. So they will gladly say, like, we welcome them, we want them here, but you just can't act on your sexuality. But then, like, to have all these students read a talk like this with this language, there's a quote in here from she's a student, she's the president of this organization called Rainbow Collective, and she just says, "This talk is one of the most recent examples of a very explicit and implicit message that queer students don't belong on campus." And I couldn't agree more. Like, if I were to read that talk as a freshman, like, even if I said, like, I was going to be here and keep all the rules, but I am gay, I still would not feel welcome or even safe.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Same.
it's just devastating.
I'm going to just talk about a certain part of the talk. I've listened to it a lot of times before this announcement was even given or whatever. But there's a part in the talk where Elder Holland talks about how divisive the LGBTQ plus community is in sharing their sexuality. And that was like one of the most hurtful things that I've heard from someone in the church, that just being who I am is dividing a community. And that is probably the most opposite thing that, like, the truth is that the church, Elder Holland, by giving this talk, is being divisive. BYU is being divisive by saying you can only belong here if you conform to exactly how we want you to be.
Mm-hmm.
That is what is dividing people, and that's what's causing this issue. Yeah. It's not that I am happy with someone that I love. That isn't causing any issues.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And there's the two important things I want to say about this, and then we will move on, because we could talk for hours and days about this and about BYU, and we will talk about our experience more. But regarding this specifically, I know there's probably people listening and thinking, okay, well, they're a private school, they're a religious school, they have this honor code, you signed it, you agreed, so you can't really complain. Okay, I will just say, like, yeah, they are a private institution, a church-owned school, so technically they can do things like this. Like, they can have these policies, but that doesn't make them any less wrong or hurtful. And that's all we're saying, is we're pointing out that, yeah, they have the right and authority to do whatever they want with their honor code or their policies, but this is how it's affecting us, and this is how it's affecting so many students. And the other really interesting thing, and I have much more to say about this when I finish my BYU experience, but just touching on it now, I will say, like, the majority of faculty And even so many students at BYU are 100% in support of us, of people in general, like just being who they are. The therapists at BYU, so many of the advisors, the professors, like they are fully supportive. And I've had many conversations where it's like, I don't care, but my hands are tied. So to me, it's really interesting that like it's hard to even hire like a full faculty of people who support these specific policies. Like, and if you can't do that, then I think that says something about those policies and the fact that they just are really unacceptable and hurtful. And one more thing on the whole, you signed up, whatever. If you like think about your college years, like, and how much you are learning and growing and becoming yourself and deciding who you want to be, like you change so much. So to put students in this little bind where just because they once felt like I should go to BYU and then say because of that, like all these changes that you're experiencing or the way that you authentically want to be or feel, like doesn't matter, you just have to grit your way through it or don't complain, is like honestly pathetic. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. I'm really hurt by it. I'm really saddened by it. There's a lot of great people at BYU and great faculty who are trying to make it a more inclusive space. There's a professor that I love. He also was one of my personal leaders in church, and he teaches a diversity inclusion class and has LGBTQ plus students come, those who are not even of our faith, those who have left the church, those who are apart, whatever, those in relationships, and they come and they speak to the class and share their experiences because he's trying to build empathy and build a place where everyone can belong, even if they don't believe the same thing. So it's really like a slap in the face to see like, there are people trying, and then like from the top, it's just like, no, we're not doing that. So it's disheartening, and we'll keep talking about it because it's really important.
Yeah. It might sound like we're really mad, and we kind of are, and we deserve to be. Like we need to do better. So.
Yeah. Yep. And lastly, before we move on, this is just a message to all of those people out there who have been affected by this decision, or even just youth who are a part of this community. Like, just know you are so loved, and you living your life authentically is not a bad thing. And I think you'll realize, like, as you do so, as you live authentically, you won't need to question as much if what you're doing is right or wrong, because you'll just feel how happy it makes you. Like, for us, like, yeah, we're at BYU where we're not supposed to be dating, and we're in a relationship, and I'm so happy. I'm not miserable like I was always kind of told I would be. And so just know happiness is possible, even though there is just a lot of hard and a lot of opposition. You can find places and spaces where you can just be you and be loved for it. And so we're really grateful, despite like the hard things about our experience at BYU. We are so grateful for the people who have just made space for us to just be us. And we want to do that for you listeners, anyone who's listening. And we know that there's other people out there who will do that for you as well.
Yeah, well said, babe. Thank you.
Of course. Okay.
Ooh.
Now that we got that off our chests, we're going to go a little bit more lighthearted for the rest of this episode. It's not going to be a super long one, but we did just have a bunch more questions that we had got on our Instagram that we're both just going to answer. And then before we do that, we will just kind of recap a couple of the bigger things that we've done in the past couple weeks. and then we'll go into the questions. But also, if you're wondering about the weekly rant, that was our weekly rant.
That was
10.
our lifetime rant.
Yeah. Many more to come, so stay
Yeah.
tuned.
Yeah. Okay,
babe,
so
what have we done?
yeah, we've been on a little hiatus, so you've missed so much.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the last thing that we did that we haven't talked about is we went to see Lainey.
Yeah.
We got our tickets for Valentine's Day, and it just happened 2 weeks ago, and it was
Yeah.
so amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was literally incredible. It was so fun. It's so cute, kind of, because, like, Jake and I, again, we met literally this past December, but, like, when Lainey was in Utah the last time, which was how long ago?
In 2022.
2022, yeah. We both were at that concert, but obviously we didn't know each other.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of cool. Like the next time he was in Utah, we were there again, but just together as
Yeah.
boyfriends, and it was so fun. We had like kind of a box,
I accidentally bought a box.
like a private little box with like this glass thing that we could like lean over. It was
And
like
we
a
had
little
like
balcony.
comfy chairs. It was amazing.
It was really nice. Yeah. And the concert was amazing.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So good.
We
Which
are big
concert did you like better? 2022 or 2024?
That is a good question. I was just about to say they were completely different experiences for me.
True.
And the first one was a lot more like, I don't know. It was an outdoor venue, and it was kind of all like just packed. There was just people kind of packed. So it felt a little bit more like an up close and personal concert. Like I feel like I was like, there was people all around me just dancing, jumping, singing,
Yeah.
whatever. So it was like that type of concert, which is so fun. And I do love that. This one was different again, because we had like this box, and it was like up top, and we could just like see everything. And it was, I mean, we were still like, we were singing and dancing with each other the whole
You
time.
know
And
we
it was,
were.
yeah. And it was so fun. But again, just a different experience. So I don't even know which one I liked more. Like, I want to say this one just because I was with you.
Yeah.
But like, it is fun to have some of those. I also am a sucker for outdoor concerts.
Me
I just
too.
love.
It was so. I think that the outdoor one was my favorite.
Yeah, because you were pretty
I
close.
was really close. I was like in the seats. I think I was like 10 rows back or something.
Yeah.
So like I was close to him.
Yeah.
And so that was cool too, because the visuals of the outdoor concert were crazy. And it was maybe just because I was so close that I could see him a lot better.
True.
But yeah, I mean, the second one was, I think they were just so different because we were like, yeah, we're together and we were up
Right.
top. So
Yeah. But yeah, it was an amazing experience. It was so fun.
mm-hmm.
And probably half of you went because
Yeah, they're
all
everyone.
of Utah is obsessed. So
Paul Jason Klein just has our hearts.
he does. Yes. And we have his apparently. He said Salt Lake's his favorite place. So
True. He's coming back next year.
in the year after that.
And
In the year after that. Okay. So yeah, that was fun. I'm trying to think if there's anything else big that we should update them on. We got an Xbox.
We bought an
everybody,
Xbox literally yesterday
for $75. Am I
Yeah.
allowed to say that?
with
Yeah.
2 controllers.
With 2 controllers, wireless, and it works perfectly.
Yeah, it's literally so nice.
Like
You better believe we bought Minecraft.
Uh-huh.
He downloaded like 10 more games last night.
Yeah. And they're so fun.
It is so fun.
We're big fans of Mario Kart on the Wii. We play with our friends a lot, and so we were like, I wish we could get Mario Kart. And we found this game. I'm trying to remember what it's even called.
Yeah, I don't
it's
know.
like
it's definitely like an off-brand Mario Kart.
it is.
But it is actually fun. Like it has
It's
its
so
own
fun.
like things. Like there's different power-ups and they're like so fun.
and you can drift,
You
which
can
is
drift.
incredible.
Which you can drift on the other Mario Kart, just not the old Wii
The
one.
old Wii one that we play. Yeah, true.
Yeah. Anyways,
So yeah, that's a little update.
we will be doing that. That's why we couldn't do the next episode. We were too busy playing. Just kidding.
Kind of kidding. Yeah. I feel like there has been a lot that has happened that I would like to talk about on the podcast, but I think some of it can even be saved for like a future episode. We had like some pretty like just important, crucial conversations, I feel like, this week, the past couple weeks, that have really helped us just to navigate things in our relationship. And we want to be like somewhat open about those things because we know everyone out there, like if you're in a relationship, like not everything is just like perfect and easy. Like you have to navigate things and work through things, and we've had to as well. But I feel like I think like we learned so much this week just through some important conversations. So I think we'll do like an episode probably in the future about some of that.
Yeah, for sure.
But for today, let's answer some questions, babe.
Okay.
Does that sound good? Okay. So let's see what we got. This question, love. And we will both just kind of answer these. You just answer them first.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah,
No,
I'm ready for anything. I'm an open
Perfect.
book.
Okay. This one's so funny. Guilty pleasure. Besides Minecraft and Kardashians. Already know about those.
Well, my guilty pleasure. I don't know if this is a good guilty pleasure. It kind of is dumb, but it's not. Okay, I think this is actually a good one. I love me some like really gross graphic female rap. Like some nasty Cardi B, Nicki Minaj
Oh, yeah.
type shit.
You gotta have it.
And that I'll be busting down
Yeah.
listening to those by myself in my room.
100%.
I think that's my guilty pleasure.
I love it.
Like
And
while I'm getting ready, that's what's playing because it hypes me up.
yeah. Couldn't agree more. Campus, Nikki.
Yeah.
She is on
No,
those
literally.
AirPods. Love
Yeah.
it.
What's your guilty pleasure?
That's just a hard question. Besides Minecraft and Kardashians. Okay. I don't know I don't even really know what a guilty pleasure means, honestly. Like I know like a lot of.
Yeah, it's just like I feel like something that's like a little bit embarrassing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't even know if you like really realize this because I feel like I try to do this just not when we're with each other. But I'm a huge, one, I just love sports. I'm a sports fan. I love playing sports and I always have. But I'm really into stats. And so I will check literally almost every sport you can think of, like of the games that were played, and like just go through each of the stat lines for each of the teams. And then I'll like go look at the stat leaders. And it's just like random sports sometimes. And then I just catch myself and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are you spending so long doing this? But I actually don't care. I love it. It's interesting to me.
That's like a good guilty pleasure. Like I feel like that is.
That's why I'm like, I don't really know what a guilty pleasure is.
No,
but
yeah, I think
if that, I'm just going to use that.
Yeah, good idea.
Thanks. Okay.
Next question.
Yeah. I'm putting you on the spot with this one. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Just
I'm already
go
on the
with
spot.
it. Do your best pickup line right now.
Oh. I usually like don't have to use these.
Oh.
Like I'm just enough. I'm totally just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Like, what would you say to me if you saw me in the street and you didn't know me?
Hey, sugar. No, I don't know. I'm really not good at like flirting or like, I don't know. I'm just awkward.
No, I don't think you are. But I will say, I think pickup lines are awkward.
No, I
You
mean,
know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I think that's just kind of a. No, but what
But it
I would
is funny.
usually say like to people is like, I'm pretty sure I said this to you. It's like, I love your style.
yeah.
It's like
Compliments
a good
are
compliment.
perfect.
Like I'm not gonna
A
say like,
genuine
"Hey, you're so sexy." Like when I first meet you, like obviously. So it's like I can compliment your style. It has to do with your appearance, but it's not like, "Hey, you're hot."
Yeah.
It's
Totally.
less forward, I think. So I think that's like to find something that's like a very good compliment, and it's like saying like, oh yeah, you look good, and like we have similar style, but like it's not so forward that it's like weird.
Yes. Love. Yeah.
Do you have any good pickup lines?
Not really. I think I try to approach things similarly. I mean, it also depends on what I was looking for at the time. Because, you know,
Yeah.
but if I'm like actually trying, like interested in someone, then yeah, it's a lot more like I try to find something genuine about them that I want to share, that I like. I don't know.
Yeah. Cute.
Yeah. Okay, we will keep going. The next question is, what is the most interesting class you've taken? I like this question, but I'm trying to think.
My very favorite class two of my very favorite classes were History 201. And it was like world civilization from basically like the beginning of time or beginning of like human civilization to 1500.
Mm,
And it was so cool.
yeah.
Like it just started off with like Mesopotamia, Egypt, like the earliest
Yes.
civilizations, and then it ended with like the indigenous people in like the Americas, and
Yeah.
I don't know, I just loved it. It was so interesting and so eye-opening. We got to learn a lot about like different religions, and yeah, I loved it. And then my second one is art history, which is like this that you can take like 202, like history 202, like the normal one, but mine was like with an emphasis on art history. And so like you learn about like all the civilizations like through their art, which was like really cool.
Mm,
And it was like from the year 1500 to like now.
yeah.
So that was, I love like art, and that time period like is when art was, it's like the Renaissance. And
Yes.
so it was super cool and fun.
I love that. Yeah, I think we both gravitate towards like the history classes and learning about people and cultures. It is just fascinating. I have two as well. And the first one is the class was literally called Jews in the Holocaust, and it was so tough. It was a tough class to take because it is just so heartbreaking. But at the same time, it was so eye-opening and interesting, and yeah, it just taught me so much and made me feel a lot of things. And so I really enjoyed that class. And then the one that I mentioned earlier, the diversity and inclusion class, the reason it's the most interesting class I've ever taken is because taking that class at BYU is such an interesting experience, because you get a lot of students in that class who, like, I'm just going to say this. I don't really care. People can be mad at me. But a lot of kids at BYU are sheltered in this bubble and, like, just don't know much. Like, and so, and that's okay. It's not really their fault. It's just kind of the way that a lot of parents choose to parent. But it's so fascinating to see them, like, for the first time kind of wrestle with all of these concepts and ideas of just basic inclusion and diversity.
Yeah.
And it's actually really cool to see how many of them, like, honestly, all of them, like, you can kind of see their eyes opening,
Yeah.
because the class is taught in such like a positive way towards like the LGBTQ plus community and all these different communities. Like, I don't know, this professor teaches it in a way where like literally everyone by the end of the semester is so much more of an ally. Like, there is a kid who knows nothing and has been so sheltered, and by the end, like, is asking me questions like, so what can I do like in this situation to be more supportive? So that was super interesting. And
Yeah.
if there should be a required thing for all freshmen at BYU, it should be to take that class,
Yeah.
not read the talk. Anyway, how do we circle back to the talk?
No, literally. The reason, I don't know if you heard me start to giggle, but I just thought we might cut this out. But for a place that just has so little diversity and inclusion, it's
Yes.
good that class had such an impact on you.
Yes.
And
Well-
it's good that I guess. They are trying to start to do better. Some people, at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah. Well, and I will just say this. What is kind of sad is I know that the professor in the department was working really hard to make this class a GE, a general, so that everyone could take it. And I think I don't want to say anything for sure because I don't know the details or the specifics, but from what I understand, the university didn't really like the idea, and it hasn't happened. And so it's just so interesting. I'm like, why are you trying to keep a class like that from all your students
No,
when
literally.
you claim to be a place of belonging for everyone? And one more thing. The
have the
whole
floor.
motto of BYU that they have is to enter to learn and go forth to serve. And expounding on that, like they're really big in like preparing their students to go into the world globally, wherever, and work with all these different people. And I'm like, okay, but if you're not willing to expose your students to diverse ways of thinking and even living in college, how can you expect them to go out into the world and work with diverse peoples across the world? Because I hate to say it, but the world don't have an honor code. And so when students go into the workforce, they're going to be with people who are married in same-sex relationships. They're going to work with someone who is transgender and has transitioned and just so many different things. And because they haven't been allowed to really have a lot of exposure, to me, it's counterintuitive to have that mantra or motto for a school and have those policies. Anyway,
Beautifully said, babe.
thanks.
I agree.
Okay, on a lighter note, babe, does pineapple belong on pizza?
I love the transition.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. I would eat pizza with only pineapple on it.
Jake is I don't know why this shocked me. I don't know why. He is a sucker for Hawaiian pizza.
Yeah.
And he's made me like it
I love it.
more. Like, I feel like I've never hated it, but it's never like a go-to. But we've had it a lot, and well, not even a lot, but when we've had it, it's,
I eat the whole
Listen.
thing, basically.
yeah.
I
I get one slice. I'm kidding.
I just love pizza in general, but something about like the sweet and savory mixed together on pizza, and then I just lather it in marinara sauce.
Mm.
Moan-worthy, literally.
Can you give us an example?
love it. Oh,
Oh my.
love that pizza.
There's your sneak peek, everybody. Paid $25 to hear more. Just kidding. Okay. Ooh, this one's going to be hard. Okay, least favorite Taylor Swift song and album.
Ooh, Red is my least favorite album.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, and
Oh?
some of the songs are good. Like All Too Well is amazing,
Yeah.
but
As a whole.
just like a whole, yeah, not the best. My least favorite song.
Yeah.
That's so hard.
I know. I'm like having to look. She has so many songs.
No, yeah, there are like actually so many.
Oh, I know mine.
You can tell us yours.
Okay, my least favorite song is probably It's Nice to Have a Friend off Lover. It is the creepiest thing I've ever heard. I'm just going to play the introduction in the mic because I just want us to all...
Illegal?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, never mind. I'm not going to. But everyone go listen to It's Nice to Have a Friend and you will start crying. Album? That is actually tough. This is going to be a really basic thing to say, but I probably just have to say her debut album only because I know the hits, Our Song, Tim McGraw, Picture to Burn, and they're good. I love those songs, but every other album, I know every single song and love most of them. So because I just don't know it as well, I would say that.
Yeah. I don't know if I can give you a least favorite song. I definitely have like very like moods. Most
Yeah.
of the time, I'm not in the mood to listen to like Question or Lavender Haze.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those are good songs. They're fine. Like if they play, I'm not gonna be mad, but I usually wouldn't choose them.
Yeah.
I think I usually gravitate more to her like slower, more emotional type stuff rather than like her pop,
Mm.
more poppy type things.
Yeah.
Like Folklore, the slower ones on Midnights, Evermore, like those I like more, I think.
Love. Yes.
So,
Period. There you have it. Okay. Zodiac sign reveal. Do you believe in zodiacs? We're both Capricorn.
yeah, we're both Capricorn. I don't necessarily not believe in it, but I just don't know a whole lot about it. I wish I did,
Same.
honestly. But I just want someone to like explain it to me. I don't really want to have to like learn about it.
Yeah.
But I think there could be something to it. I think it definitely is.
Yeah. True. Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't know much about it. But it is like interesting when I do see things. Like I think it's cool.
No, yeah. It's so funny. Some of my friends in high school were like really into it. And so like I would just kind of ask them questions about it and like whatever. And so one time like I did like my whole like score, like my rising, whatever it is. I don't even know all the terms. But so I did like the whole mock up. And so I would like ask them some questions about like each one, and then they'd be like, "Oh, so like who are you?" And then I say like, "Oh, I'm a Capricorn." And they're like, "Oh, yes, that's so you. You're this, this, and this." And I'm like, "Okay."
That is so funny.
Or like you tell someone like something else and they're like, "That's so you." And I'm like, "No, I'm actually a Capricorn."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, well, like that makes sense too." I'm like, "Okay, so."
That is so
No, yeah. So I
funny.
think it is just kind of like a funny thing, but I
Yeah.
think there definitely could be some truth to it.
I will say I do remember in high school at one point having an app that gave you just like every day a little
yeah.
like not like a fortune, but kinda like
And
how your
it
day
can,
was like.
match you with people. Like you can have friends. I had one called CoStar.
See,
and it
that
was,
one
like-
is newer, nicer, and I have had it at one point.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. The design of
Yeah.
that app is
Yeah, true.
stunning.
And you can like have friends, and then it like does like an algorithm with all of your different things, and then it can like say you're a good match for this person.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we should do that, because if we're a bad match, I don't know what that means.
Well, yeah, I don't know. But the app I had was a really cheap, this was like iPod Touch days app.
Yeah.
And it was just every day it just gave you like a little synopsis of how your day, or like you are becoming this, or you're learning.
Cute.
And I swear to you, so many times I was like, yep, that's exactly what I'm feeling right now. And it might just be the whatever it's called. What's the thing?
Placebo.
Placebo.
Yeah.
Could be that, but who knows? Maybe this little free app designed by some random person somewhere was reading my mind.
Yeah. It probably was, honestly.
Probably. Okay. We have a couple more questions, folks, and then we'll wrap up. This question is so cute. And can I name drop who asked it?
Yeah, sure. I don't know why you haven't been name dropping all of
Caitlin.
them. Oh, our friend Caitlin,
Caitlin,
who
we
was
love
on
you.
a few weeks ago.
Yes. And this one was actually when we did the question box for Just Jake. So it is kind of directed at you.
Oh, okay.
So you can answer, and I'll probably just add some thoughts. But
Okay.
she said, how are you loving yourself, and how do you see that affect your relationship with Hunter?
Cute.
Caitlin, that's such a powerful, beautiful question.
Yeah, I'm just like I'm at a point in my life where I'm really just trying to like focus on myself and love myself. And so it's interesting because like I'm also like finding out lots of new things about Hunter, and like how each of our individual characteristics kind of like are blending together and starting to like, I don't know, just go together. And so it's kind of different now. But yeah, I think that you can't truly love someone else until you love yourself. So I think just talking good about yourself is like one of the biggest things that's helped me change my attitude. Like, and obviously bad thoughts still come like all the time. And Hunter can attest to that. Like, I'm not always my most confident self. But I have just been really intentional about trying to, when bad thoughts about myself do come, just to try to shut them down, because I know that it's because of other things that are going on, and it's not really how I feel about myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that really has helped me love you so much more, because I am just a lot more introspective about like my negative thoughts. And so I'm like, if I'm having negative thoughts, like Hunter probably is too. And that goes for like anyone that I'm around. Like, we all have those things. And so when I like focus on them and then just like try to let them go, I can like put myself in Hunter's shoes too. Like, I know that he probably has having those same thoughts. And so like just being able to help each other kind of like stay positive about ourselves
Yeah.
has been really awesome.
I couldn't agree more.
That's
I
a
love
great
that.
question, Caitlin.
Yeah,
So
it's
thank
so beautiful. Yeah, and I think we've had to like figure out like how we can still do things for ourselves. Really, to me, it comes down to just taking care of yourself and doing things that make you feel good and happy. And so, like, honestly, like, we sometimes like have had to reevaluate our time spent and be like, hey, we need to make like exercise or something random like that, like more consistent in our schedule, because those things just make you feel better. Like, so I do feel like being intentional about doing things that make you feel good and showing up for yourself is huge, because then, like you say, you can show up for each other.
Yeah.
And that's not to say like you said, like there is going to be days where one of you is just having a harder day. Like, you're not as confident. You don't feel like you like are super in love with yourself that day. But that's the beauty of having someone, is like, as long as you're both working on that and striving, like when there is a day where one of you is struggling, like the other one can be there to support you and pick you up and understand what you're going through. And then vice versa. And we've experienced that firsthand. Like,
yeah.
we've had days where we both are just feeling great and it's amazing. Then we've had hard days where one of us is having a really hard day, but we've been able to get through them all.
Yeah.
So, great question. Love it. Okay. The last question is 3 words to describe the other person.
Oh my gosh.
Go for it, baby.
Okay, my 3 words for Hunter. There are so many words that can describe him, but these are the 3 that I just thought of. So my first one is beautiful, because sometimes I just look over at Hunter and I'm like, how is that possible?
You're so sweet, baby.
Just so cute. Okay. The second word is gentle. You're just so gentle with me, like emotionally, physically, and it's so cute. Like, you're just so like soft and gentle.
Period.
Okay, my third word is strong,
Oh,
because you're just like so strong. Like, you go through so many hard things every single day, and you're just able to get over it and keep fighting, and that is so amazing to me. So
thanks, babe.
you're welcome.
That's so sweet. Okay. My 3 words. First, very similar. I was going to put beautiful, and I thought he would put beautiful. So I put breathtaking, but same thing. It's because,
Okay,
yeah.
taking your breath away.
No, literally, he does. Like, it's crazy because I'm with him so much, but like, then I'll just like see him walk into the room, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm dating a model.
Okay.
Anyway,
Thanks, babe. That's really
you're
sweet of
welcome.
you.
Second is hilarious. Like, I don't think people understand how funny Jake is. He is one of the funniest people I've ever met. And we're constantly laughing. And actually, something that I just remembered that I told him this last week that is so true about him is he has this insane gift or something, this way of being like so goofy and funny and like literally so sexy at the same exact time. Like when I do dumb, funny shit, I look like a dweeb. I look like a goofball. Like I'm being goofy. I don't look hot or whatever. He does somehow, some way. Anyway, it's amazing.
Thank you.
And lastly, creative. I love the way Jake's mind works. Like it's just not, I don't know. He pays attention to things that I feel like not a lot of people pay attention to, including myself. He has just like a really good eye for things and for beautiful things. And so I just love the creative mind that he has. And he's always, one thing I love is he always like just has new ideas of things that we can do or try. Like that is one of my favorite things about you is just like, I feel like every day I'll hear like something like, babe, we should get this or try this or look what I found or this is what I've been thinking about. And it's just so cool. And it makes our relationship so fun. So
thank you.
You're welcome.
So sweet. Love you.
Love you more.
Mm-mm.
We fight for the remaining 11 minutes of the pod. Jay playing, everybody. We're going to wrap up, but we love you all so, so much. It's been fun.
Yeah.
Back recording.
Mm-hmm.
We're excited.
Yeah. We had a lot of information this episode. So if you have any questions, let us know. We'd love to hear your thoughts too. Just if you have any comments or things you want to add to what we've said, we love to hear from you. Also, I just would like to say you guys should share our podcast and subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave us a review. Those things like help us like genuinely so much, and it means so much to us just to like take a second and do those things because like it actually like that is how we can grow. So anyways, if you feel like it and have a free moment, smash that subscribe button.
Period. And lastly, keep your eyes out for a question box soon regarding BYU. Because if we're going to do a full episode on BYU, we want all of your questions. Don't
and
hold anything back.
Like,
and your experiences. That's so true. We will, because we'll do an episode where we like share our experiences and answer questions.
Yeah.
But then we'll like read some experiences as well. If you, we might even, what we'll do is we'll put like a question box, and then we can even just do like an anonymous box where you can just send in some of your experiences anonymously if that makes you more comfortable.
Yeah.
And so both options will be available. Just be watching on our Instagram. And we're so excited.
Yeah.
So we love you.
We love you so much. Thank you for being here. You guys are always so awesome. So we will see you next week.
Bye.